Mostly not. When do profilers fail? If you have distributed algorithms that send messages around and spend most of the time in the messaging subsystem and not in your code, or spend most of the time somewhere in the user interface where you have no control about anything, then it's usually hard to profile them with a tool. This one comes from my practice. If your profiler said you spend 99% of your time in this code, and then you optimize the code, and then it says you spend 99% of your time in this code still, then you should check how this code is used. Because if you have a nice optimized piece of code which is called 10 million times, it will still be slow. And if time is spent in somewhere in Windows, reason can sometimes be hard to find. So basically with this, you may fall back to the do-it-yourself profiling and add in logging statements and so on and so on. So I'll move to my XC now. I have a practical demo here. Let me check my time. Okay, I have lots of time. It's based on a code that comes with the GExperts open source expert library, which is very, very, very useful stuff. And there's a function called procedure list, which will show you functions in your code. You can filter it, and you can jump to code. And this stuff works, but becomes very, very slow on large units. So I have here largest unit in my source tree. It's part of Developer Express bar library, that's Toolbar stuff. And it has 4,248 methods in one file. So don't do that, please. And if I search here, you can see that nothing is going on. Okay, now it has filtered. And some time ago, I was interested why this happens. I checked the GExpert source code, and at the end decided there's too complicated to fix, and I left it as is. But for today's demo, I did extract the basics of this GExperts implementation because it's hard to debug Delphi experts, and I have here a small demo which does exactly the same as the expert code, except that it doesn't parse the file. And what it does, it loads a list of procedure names from an external file, and we'll start with a short list, which is just a part of this extremely large dxbar list. There's about, I don't know, 100 units. And then for each unit, well, the code is designed. Let's see how the code is designed. It loads this list from file into some object, tProcedure list. And then, no, I don't want to show this. I want to show this. And then executes a numerator over some filtering method, which returns just a subset of the full list based on what I have typed into the filter. And for each entry, it will split it. It comes in dotted format, class.method into class and name. And it will add a new list item. This is a t-list view control. It will add a new list item and set the caption to method class and set sub-items to method name. So we'll get two columns, one with class and one with name. And if I run this on a small data set, and I believe you are like me and always test your programs on very small data sets so that they can work faster. I get this, it's fast. I can try to filter it, get item. It works great, okay? Then you put this to the customer, and customer, of course, uses a big mess of code. So I replaced the 4K long list of method names with 200K long list of method names, which was directly extracted from this dxbar unit. These are the methods in the unit. And if I run, at first you saw that it took quite some time to load the list. And if I now try to filter it, it works exactly like GExperts, quite slow. So where's the problem? Instead of guessing, I will run the profiler. And I will start with AQ time. With AQ time, you do run with profiling. It will change, it will recompile, rebuild your code. Oh, yeah, I want to, whatever. It will rebuild it again. This question and everything happens just once per project, then it's all set. So we are debugging simple Windows 32 programs. We want to check elapsed time because we cannot check anything else. And we will not profile .NET and so on and so on and so on. It warns me that my CPU may slow down. It will not because it will be fully busy. Do we finally get the program? Okay, it's running now. It warns me that some stuff cannot be instrumented, so if the method is too short, there is no place in the code to modify it, to insert those start-end instructions. But typically, if code is so short, it doesn't matter. So, can I run it now, please? I think it's loading. It's here. No. Okay, so if I want to see, now let's first check. Okay, let's see what's going on. If you want to see where your program is spending time, you have to use it. If it's just sitting in the graphical user interface doing nothing, then profiler will not show anything. So let's filter this a little. Let's do get item and delete it. Let's say this is enough. So I will close it. And AQ time throws up a report. I will reduce this a little because the screen is small. Okay, everything is visible. So this is sorted by time. I spent 10 seconds in the reload view method. But that's not that strange because the reload view actually is the method which does all the work. So yes, of course, we spent the time here. We spent 2 seconds in the sort algorithm, and as I copied this code basically from GExperts. I don't know what this sort is. And everything else was really not important. Okay? So before I go deeply into reload view, I'll just jump a bit here into the sort. Okay, I admit the sort is something I added to the code to show a bottleneck. This is a simple bubble sort which performs very, very slow if you call it on 4,000 strings. What you can see here on the left is AQ time profiling information. So basically this is time spent inside this method and time spent inside this method plus all other methods that were called from this method. So if I go to my main, we saw before that, okay, I have to do it this way. A reload view was also one of those. This one, okay, this one spent 10.4 seconds in this code, plus additional 0.1 second somewhere else. And this somewhere else is in split name, which took actually less than 0.1 second, but as I said, measuring overheads and call from function to function, so the result is not really accurate to a millisecond. Okay, but let's start that we want to fix this sort first, because fixing a sort is trivial. This reload view may not be trivial. And I'm getting lost on this small screen, sorry. So if I close down this AQ time stuff, actually it says close by Control F4, but Control F4 doesn't work. So I wanted to get rid of the extra information in the sidebar. So we saw this sort. Okay, let's see where this is used. It's used here in the loader, which is a very stupid loader which works by reading character by character. That's something I did because I hoped it would add another bottleneck, but it doesn't. It's very fast still, so let's not fix it. But I call this sort here, so I have my procedures ordered by classes and by names. And as this code is ugly and disgusting, in such situations it's best to throw it fully away. So I have prepared a replacement load procedure list, which I will use directly in my forum. It will simply overwrite the other load procedure list. This one will be called because it's close by. It's the first symbol the compiler will see. This one just uses load from file and set string list to sort it. So when you find a weird custom code that does something in a funny way, it's usually best to replace it with normal standard approaches. So let's run this time again, but let's run it through the prodelfie. Oh, this is prodelfie. Now you probably understand what I was talking before. Nobody can see anything in this mess, but it's still a good tool. So to skip all the non-important start, this is a source instrumenting profiler. So first, you have to change your source code. It says, did you back up the source code? Yes, I did. I have a source control. Okay, only the first 20 functions will be profiled. Now you have to fully recompile everything. So you fully recompile, reload, because it changed the source code. So what the profiler did, it added those ITDev profile, so you can ignore the profiling code easily. And then it calls some profiler-specific code. And this is in end if. So when the load procedures list begins execution, it calls profile enter, and this is numerical ID of this method, this unit and this method. And then at the exit, it says this method is exiting. And somewhere in behind this prof enter and prof exit are collecting the timing information for us. So I have to define profile and rebuild. And run. So here's the program. Again, I will do get item. So it's still slow. Changing the sort didn't help the reload view, of course. But the load time was faster now, and it was hard to see, but we'll check this in the prodelfie. And then I have to, what do I have to do next? I always forget. I think it's view results, load and view. So it's messy interface. You can tell immediately that this was written by a programmer and not somebody that specializes in user interfaces. So I can sort this on percentage of time used. We can see now that our load procedure list, needed only 1% of time, which is almost nothing. So we will leave it at this. But this reload view, this reload view take all the time. I can click it. I cannot maximize this, of course. So this is what is called a call graph. I have my reload view method. It was called from imp filter changed, I believe.